Martin O'Malley had one shining moment in the debate. He probably had more than one. But, every now and then he made sense. And this was one of those few when he was talking about Donald Trump.
And he is a proud American Muslim. And one of his little boys said to him, "Dad, what happens if Donald Trump wins and we have to move out of our homes?" These are very, very real issues. This is a clear and present danger in our politics within. We need to speak to what unites us as a people: freedom of worship, freedom of religion, freedom of expression. And we should never be convinced to give up those freedoms in exchange for a promise of greater security, especially from someone as untried and as incompetent as Donald Trump.
Wow. I think it went out over the air. I said, boy, he looks like Dennis Kucinich in that a younger Dennis Kucinich. Interesting. Anyhow, no parallels with regard to politics, probably, but it's Trump is a clear and present danger to American politics. By the way, he has now demanded an apology from Hillary Clinton for saying that he's the top recruiter for ISIS, or ISIL, as I am going to start referring to them. It's just, this is Trump just finding a new way to get into the headlines. The benefit, I suppose, to Democrats is that he's also getting Hillary Clinton in the headlines. A shame he's not getting Bernie in the headlines, but what can you say? Following on to O'Malley's comment, this is clip 16, Jim. Senator Sanders pointed out that we have tried being the policeman of the world. George W. Bush. Oh, jeez. And it just doesn't work. Here's Bernie.
The United States of America cannot succeed or be thought of as the policeman of the world. That when there's an international crisis all over the world, in France and in the UK, hey, just call up the American military and the American taxpayers. They're going to send the troops, and if they have to be in the Middle East for 20 or 30 years, no problem.
Right. And clip number 17, this is Bernie expanding on this, and so what do you do if we're not going to be the cops and you got a crisis going on in the Middle East and civilians are being slaughtered and, bad guys and crazies are running amok? Here's what Bernie had to say.
Tell Saudi Arabia that instead of going to war in Yemen, they, one of the wealthiest countries on earth, are going to have to go to war against ISIS. To tell Qatar that instead of spending $200 billion on the World Cup, maybe they should pay attention to ISIS, which is at their doorstep.
There you go. And Hillary weighed in on this, and this is clip 18, Jim. Here's Hillary Clinton speaking to this issue.
I believe it would be not only a strategic mistake for the United States to put ground combat troops in, as opposed to special operators, as opposed to trainers, because that is exactly what ISIS wants. They've advertised that. They want American troops back in the Middle East. They want American soldiers on the ground fighting them, giving them many more targets and giving them a great recruiting opportunity.
There you go. And, Hillary Clinton is absolutely right. And like I said, this is anyway, here's Bernie regime change, kind of knocking down Hillary in a way. Here's clip 19, Jim.
But I think, and I say this with due respect, that I worry too much that Secretary Clinton is too much into regime change and a little bit too aggressive without knowing what the unintended consequences might be.
Clip 39, Jim. 39. There we go. This is Bernie basically going through the same thing. This is a 44-second clip. We have time for it? Okay. Yeah, here it is.
Where we have a disagreement is that I think if you look at the history of regime changes, you go back to Mossadegh in Iran, you go back to Salvador Allende, who we overthrew in Chile, you go back to overthrowing Saddam Hussein in Iraq, you go back to where we are today in Syria with a dictator named Assad. The truth is, it is relatively easy for a powerful nation like America to overthrow a dictator. But it is very hard to predict the unintended consequences and the turmoil and the instability that follows after you overthrow that dictator. So I think Secretary Clinton and I have a fundamental disagreement. I'm not quite the fan of regime change that I believe she is.
There you go. So, and that's, something you're just going to have to make up your mind about.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.